Bitcoin just broke above $65,500, a 2-week high. And it happened because of a peace deal in the Middle East that almost nobody in crypto is watching. Meanwhile, XRP is up 4%. Solana is bouncing hard off oversold levels. And a Fed rate decision is coming this week that could either rocket this market or slam the brakes. 5 assets, 5 setups. Stay locked in, because in the next 9 minutes, you're going to know exactly what to watch, where the levels are, and what moves the money. Welcome back to the channel, where we cut through the noise and give you real analysis, real levels, and real context every single day. If you're new here, we cover crypto markets daily: Bitcoin, Ethereum, altcoins, technical breakdowns, and macro catalysts you actually need to understand. Today is Monday, June 15th. This is the week's opening breakdown, and I'm going to walk you through the 5 crypto assets with the most interesting setups right now, with price targets on both sides, upside and downside, no hype, just data. Let's get into it. Before we get to the specific assets, you have to understand the environment those assets are living in, because context changes everything. Here's what just happened over the weekend. The U.S. and Iran finalized a peace agreement. The Strait of Hormuz, which handles roughly 20% of the world's oil, is back open. Oil prices dropped sharply on that news, and when oil falls, risk appetite rises. Equities cheered, the dollar wobbled, and crypto's being cautious, as it should be. Markets have been burned by false macro breakouts before, but Bitcoin still climbed above $65,500 on the news, a 2-week high. Here's the second thing you need to know. The Fed. We have a Federal Reserve interest rate decision coming this week. No one expects a cut, but the commentary around future cuts is going to move markets. If Powell signals any dovish lean, crypto could pop hard. If he doubles down on a higher for longer stance, expect pressure. That's the macro backdrop. A potential tailwind from geopolitics, a wild card from the Fed. Now, in that kind of environment, which crypto assets have the setups worth watching? Let me show you 5 of them. Start with the king. Bitcoin is trading around $65,500 right now. And yes, that's a 2-week high. But let's be honest about what that means technically. Bitcoin has been in a consolidation range. On the downside, the critical support zone sits at $60,000. That level has been tested and held. Below that, we're looking at $52,000, and that's a scenario nobody wants to see. On the upside, the first major resistance is the $71,000 to $72,000 zone. That's where bulls need to reclaim ground to confirm any real recovery. Analysts at JP Morgan have called $94,000 a production cost floor for 2026, and some targets go as high as $170,000 by year end. But we live in the short term right now, and the short term says Bitcoin needs to close above $68,000 on a weekly basis to confirm that the consolidation phase is ending. A clean weekly close above $68,000. That's your confirmation signal. Rejection at $66,500 to $67,000 and a rollover back towards $62,000. That's your warning sign. Bitcoin is the anchor. If it doesn't move, nothing else does. Ethereum. The smart contract king is in a recovery attempt, and I want to be precise about that word, attempt. ETH has been lagging Bitcoin in this cycle, but here's what's driving the underlying fundamental case. DeFi is growing. Real-world asset tokenization is scaling on Ethereum. Stablecoin activity is at record levels on-chain. And Vitalik Buterin laid out a roadmap to increase Layer 1 throughput 10 times, making the network faster and cheaper. Those are real catalysts, but technically, ETH needs to get above the $2,800 resistance level before the bulls can feel confident. Below $2,200 and the bears start talking about a deeper flush. The Bitwise 2026 outlook has called for Ethereum to potentially reach new all-time highs this cycle, but it's contingent on macro cooperating. Key level to watch, $2,500. If ETH can reclaim and hold $2,500 this week, that's a sign strength is returning. Stay with me, because this next part is critical. XRP, up 4% today, climbing above $1.18 on the strongest buying activity in weeks. Here's what's fueling it: institutional flows and ETF demand. XRP ETF demand is real and it's pushing price action at a macro level. The key resistance level to watch is $1.20. Traders are testing it right now. If XRP can clear and hold above $1.20, the next level up is $1.30 and beyond. On the downside, support sits at $1.08. A drop below that would be a bearish signal that this rally is just noise. But here's the thing about XRP that I keep coming back to. It's one of the few assets in this space with actual regulatory clarity baked in. The legal battles are behind it. Institutional players know the rules. That reduces one of the biggest risk factors. And that's showing up in the price action. Clean break and hold above $1.20 this week. That's the setup. Target if it holds. $1.30 to $1.35 in the near term. Solana. This one is a live debate right now. Is this a real bounce or a dead cat? Here's the data. SOL is trading around $71. The 20-day EMA sits at $71.96. That's immediate resistance right now. The RSI was recently at deeply oversold levels, which can precede a bounce but doesn't guarantee it. The bull case SOL holds above $65, clears $72, and targets the 50-day EMA at $78. There's also a significant catalyst. Meta just expanded USDC payouts to creators via the Solana network. Real adoption, real volume. The bear case, rejection from the $72 zone, pullback to $65, and if that breaks, $60 is on the table. This week, $72 is the line in the sand for Solana. Watch it closely. And finally, Chainlink. This one might be the most interesting setup on the board right now. Here's why. Wallets holding at least one link just hit their highest level since 2022. That's an accumulation signal. Smart money is quietly stacking. The key level, $7.20 support. If Link holds there and reclaims $8.50, the technical target is $9.50 to $10 before June ends. Long-term analysts have targets ranging from $15 to $30 for 2026 if adoption of its Oracle and cross-chain infrastructure continues growing. With real-world asset tokenization exploding on chain, Chainlink is the infrastructure play most people are sleeping on. Watch $8.50. That's the reclaim level. Let me give you the full picture in 60 seconds. Bitcoin, support $60,000, resistance $68,000 to $72,000. Weekly close above $68,000 is bullish. Ethereum, support $2,200, key reclaim level $2,500, resistance $2,800. XRP, support $1.08, key breakout level $1.20, target $1.30 to $1.35. Solana, support $65, line in the sand $72, target $78 if it clears. Chainlink, support $7.20, reclaim level $8.50, target $9.50 to $10 near term. The macro setup this week is genuinely interesting. A geopolitical tailwind, a Fed decision on Wednesday, and a market that's been washed out and is looking for a reason to move. Will it be up? Possibly. If Bitcoin confirms above $68,000 and XRP breaks $1.20. Will it be down? Also possible if the Fed disappoints and Bitcoin rejects from current levels. You now know the levels. You now know the catalyst. That's how you navigate this week with confidence. That's your full breakdown for the week of June 15th. 5 assets, clear levels, real catalysts. That's all you need. If you found this useful, hit that like button. It genuinely helps this channel get in front of more people who want real analysis, not hype. Subscribe if you're not already. We do this every day before the market opens, so you're always one step ahead. Drop a comment below. Which of these 5 are you watching most closely this week? I read every single one. And as always, this is not financial advice. Crypto markets are highly volatile. Everything you heard today is for educational and informational purposes only. Always do your own research before making any investment decisions. You can lose money in crypto. I'll see you in the next one.